What if you can own an awesome multi-family property, a duplex to be exact, that just had a $30,000 discount in the Marion Oaks subdivision? And what if you can move into one side and rent out the other side? Well, today I'm gonna show you this awesome new construction multi-family property that just had a $30,000 price reduction. Let's get started. You may not be ready for a phone call yet. So what a lot of my clients like is that I have a VIP list where you could just put the information of where you want me to send properties and the criteria of what properties you want me to send, and I'll just get properties sent directly to you. The VIP list will be in the description. Also on the QR code on the screen, you can get access to it. So if you want homes like this emailed directly to you, I can have that sent to you right away via the VIP list. Our first time home buyer webinar happening, and in the description on the QR code as well, you can subscribe to that, where it's going to be via Zoom, where we're going to just talk in kind of like a group setting, going over the home buying process, some down payment programs, some best practices, and give you kind of an idea to pick my brain of like how we do what we do, kind of see what deals we can get you. So if you're a first time home buyer, you're not ready to buy a home yet, but you want to kind of get an idea of what that process looks like, in the description on the QR code, first time home buyer seminar. It's a webinar, so it's virtual, and we're gonna do some in person coming pretty soon. Also, based on recent feedback, if you want property tours where it's just a silent walkthrough, well, maybe with some music and you just want to see these beautiful homes, in the description as well, on my link and on the QR code, you'll have access to a secondary channel where you'll just be able to see the actual property tours without all this mumbo jumbo, all this talking in the background. So if you just want to get straight to the property tours, visit that second channel, subscribe there as well. For anybody who's new here, my name is Joe Denny. I'm a Florida realtor and I have a mortgage license as well. I'm originally from New York, the Bronx, New York specifically. So I pride myself in helping a lot of people relocate from different areas into Florida. Helping a family now from California, one from Canada, Minnesota, Colorado, and I got one from New York as well that I'm helping as well. So if you want help buying a home anywhere in Florida, consider me a resource and subscribe to the channel. There's a bunch of playlists here for different areas, different new construction opportunities. And if you're ready to buy a home at some point and you want the financing figured out, with a soft credit pool, I'm able to shop up to 61 different lenders to kind of see what scenarios I can get for you. Or if you just like watching these awesome home tours, then subscribe to the channel as well and just watch along. All right, where are we? We are in Ocala, specifically Marion Oaks. Checking out one of the first multi-family opportunities out here that I've recorded on the channel. This one's a duplex, just reduced by $30,000. You can actually live in one unit and rent out the other. Got this awesome driveway here that you can fit all the cars here for the two-family property there. So we're in one of the two units here. So we have a total of 3 beds, 2 baths on each side with a total of 2248 square feet. You're gonna have the luxury vinyl plank flooring, espresso shaker cabinets, stainless steel appliances. I'm just reading it off my phone. Whole bunch of cool things here. But what makes the most sense is the actual situation you'd be in here. You can possibly live in one side and have a mortgage where the other side can be rented, and that could help offset part of the mortgage. Since I'm also in the mortgage industry, I can kind of help guide you through what that process looks like. And you can probably get it for as low as 3.5% down. Imagine living into, getting a multifamily property like this with minimal down. Maybe even I could probably try to find some down payment assistance program as well if you need to. So I think this is especially a great deal. Flood zone X. So we're not in the flood zone, so you're able to save money on not having to pay for the flood insurance. Now, when you come outside of these properties, you can kind of see that you have a little porch area here. So, you still got a porch in the property itself. You still have 3 beds, 2 bath with no carpet, by the way. Very modern finishes. And you still have sort of a covered lanai back here. All you gotta do is screen it in. This massive backyard. So you can kind of see both units right there next to each other. Let's go to the end of the property line for you guys so you can kind of get an idea. So if you guys want to put like probably a pool back here or fence in the yard, it'd be pretty awesome. All right, we're back in your property and you have the kitchen here. So you'll see that you have the stainless steel appliances right over here, connection for the washer and dryer. So both properties can have their individual washer and dryers. And you have your pantry right over here. By the way, my office is open until 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you're watching this video right now at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, just give me a call, send me a text. I'm working till 10 p.m. Eastern. I've created that flexible schedule so a lot more people can reach out to me, whereas the other realtors might not be working that late. All right, let's check out some of the rooms here. So you'll have 2 of the rooms here at the beginning when you first walk in, and then you'll have your primary suite towards the end of the property. All right, so bedroom number 1. These closets are pretty nice size too. Would you consider this a walk-in closet if I could walk in? Not sure, but let's check out the other room right down the hall. This would make a great value add to your portfolio if you're an investor as well. And they just reduced the price by $30,000. So the seller is motivated on this one and it's move-in ready. I would just say get a nice little home inspection, get some good title work done on it to make sure the paperwork is clear. And I would just move in or move 2 tenants in. All right, let's go to your primary. The biggest room in the house. We got your primary. Bathrooms are kind of small, but they're functional. You got the shower right over there, and then the other bathroom, you have the tub. 2 little light fixtures there. So, if this is one of the first time you watch videos about Ocala, we're in the Marion Oaks area. There's different parts of Ocala. So you got the Silver Spring Shores, you got downtown, you got Rainbow Park, you got the Rolling Hills, Marion Oaks. What people like about the Marion Oaks is a lot of these houses here have like no HOA. So it's like restricted free like living and no CDD. There are some HOA communities out here, but a lot of the people that reach out to me don't want to be in the HOA. So I go to a lot of the houses that don't have the HOA, and you'll get a lot of like 1/4 acre, 1/3 of an acre, 1/2 acre lots with homes still priced very reasonably in the mid 200s to like the low 300s to mid 300s. This particular property, we'll go over the numbers at the end to kind of show you guys what this looked like, but the price was just reduced about $30,000 on this home. So there's motivation here. And I think this is gonna be a true gem for whoever picks this one up. All right, so we are in the other half of the structure. We're in unit number 1. We started off in unit number 2. So you can kind of see a similar floor plan. You got these vaulted ceilings, you got these luxury vinyl plank floors, shaker cabinets, upgrade countertops over there. It's gonna be like a mirror version of the floor plan of the one we were just at. So it's pretty much gonna be the same thing on the other end. What do you think about that? All right, so we're gonna check out the other 2 rooms here. By the way, you're gonna see my partner Jadiel in the video somewhere. All right, so if you're looking for a house somewhere in like the Gainesville area, he'll be the guy to kind of help you up there in North Florida, Jacksonville, Gainesville, all those areas up there. All right, so this is your bathroom right over here. Let's talk about what the numbers look like on this awesome multifamily property, which by the way, just got reduced about $30,000. So we're sitting at $419,000 in certain areas in Florida. That's what a regular new construction single family home costs. And you're able to get, for the low 400s, a multifamily property. We're in Marion Oaks, 34473, and square footage is 2248, which is basically, it breaks down to 1124 per unit, and you got 3-2 on both sides. And you had the little patio on the front and the covered lanais as well. So 3-2, which is a 6-4 total. So, okay, water is public, and sewer is an aerobic septic system for the sewer. So you're gonna have the lower utility costs, no monthly sewer bill, no HOA, no CDD. Very controversial topic is property taxes. So what happens right now, the property taxes on the property itself is just on the land value. But after about a year or so, or a few months to a year after the property gets sold, the taxes get reassessed because now there's a structure on there, so the value went up. So while others may think, oh, my property taxes went up, what's really happening is it's just recalibrating and correcting itself to the correct amount. When I went on the property appraiser's website, the tax collector's website, the estimates come out at about 1.45%. Now, if you're buying it as an investment property, it could be a little bit higher. And if you do the homestead exemption, you might be able to save some money there. So it's just a rough estimate. We're in the 500s. I don't know what the homeowner's insurance is gonna cost, so I just put a 145 number. It could be less, could be more. Remember, there's 2 different families living there. So I would reach out to an insurance broker for a quote there. So these estimates are just gonna have a 506 tax, 145 insurance. So rental estimates could be around $1,500 to $1,600 per side. So you'd be bringing in about $300 to $3,200 for the whole building, potentially, depending on how much you rent it. That's gonna be important because if you were to live in one side and rent the other, this might help you out, offset some of the bill that's gonna be there. In all of these assumptions, we're looking at a potentially 4% closing costs, and it could be higher or lower. And we can also ask the seller to help you with your closing costs through concessions. So, like I said before, 506 a month insurance, 506 a month taxes, 145 a month insurance potentially. Let's talk about a VA option. So, depending on what the rate is at the time of the video, $0 down, monthly payments floating right around $3,200, closing costs, so it'd be $16,700, and you can ask the seller for basically 4% of the purchase price. So that's gonna be the 4% there. 3.5% down FHA loan is gonna be around $14,665, putting the monthly payment in the low to mid 3,000s. You can actually buy it as an FHA loan and live in one side and rent out the other side. But if you're not gonna live in any of the 2 sides, you're gonna have to buy it as an investment property. But you can buy it as an FHA loan and put 3.5% down, believe it or not. And then what's gonna happen is the rent that the other side is gonna charge can help you offset the mortgage. So just imagine this $3,400 number being reduced by anywhere between $1,500 to $1,600. It's pretty cool there. So that's what it looks like. On the FHA, you can actually ask for a higher concession. You can ask for up to 6%. Don't know if the seller's gonna do it, but it's worth a shot. Conventional 5% down will put your down payment around $21,000 with the $16,000 closing costs, pushes your cash to close to like the mid 30s to low $40,000 number there. Max concession is around $12,570 that we can ask for, which is the 3% number there. You're buying it as a 10% down conventional loan. These are gonna be the numbers here, 10%, closing costs, total cash to close is gonna be in the 60s. Max concession is gonna be that same 3% number there. Now for those investors out there, 20% down. Now, this 20% down is not for investors, this is more for like a primary residence because you have a primary residence rate. As an investor, the rates could be a little bit higher, so keep that in mind. So $28.85, and if you rent one of the other sides, you'll get some rental income there. Total cash to close at 20% down plus the closing costs, you'd be at the low 100s, so about $100,000 there, and we can ask for about $12,570 off in concessions. Now, that's pretty much how the numbers would work on that property there. Now I'm gonna kind of go over what the actual home buying process looks like in Florida so you guys kind of have an idea what to expect. So one of the first steps, if you're buying with a loan, if you're financing the property, is to get pre-approved. Since I have a mortgage license, I'm able to shop 61 different lenders for you, and we're able to start with just a soft credit pool. A lot of the times that people that come to me, they get nervous and they're like, oh, but I don't want to hurt my credit right away. I don't want to hurt my score. Well, we can actually start the conversation with just a soft credit pool. Mainly what we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out the middle score, and we're trying to figure out the liabilities on your credit report so we can import it into our system so that it can calculate your debt to income. Because if you were just to tell me what your debts are and what your credit scores are, I could literally tell you what the numbers will be. But sometimes people forget certain things on their credit, or their credit scores aren't where they thought it would be. That's where the soft pool, answers a lot of our questions. And then whenever you're ready to move forward, if you like the numbers or whatever, then we proceed to do a hard credit pool if you're looking to shop within 3 to 6 months. But if you're like 6 to 12 months out, I would recommend just start with the soft pool. I would start there. Then we got to talk about potentially how the agreements work. So when you're working with a realtor, my job is to help you, and my compensation, I'm going to try to get the seller to pay me. But there has to be some sort of agreement with us. So there's an exclusive buyer broker agreement or a showing agreement. And I would say a showing agreement is more of a temporary agreement. So like when I'm meeting an internet lead from realtor.com, Zillow, one of those websites, we'll do a quick little showing agreement for 1, 2, 3 days, maybe 7 days. Whereas someone who's been like following me for a while and really wants my help, they'll go right away and say, hey, let's just lock in. Let's sign that exclusive buyer broker agreement. In it, we'll talk about different buyer protections that we have in there, as well as I'll talk about different ways that I can guide you to help you with this process. And one of the ways that I help in this process is we figure out what your criteria is. Sometimes it starts on the VIP list. Sometimes it starts by you texting, emailing, or calling me directly. Sometimes even finding me on social media. Some people find me on Instagram and say, hey, I saw you on YouTube, and I'm following you on Instagram. I want to buy a house. And somebody found me on TikTok also. So we put a home search site portal together for you where we'll put your criteria in there, and then you can favorite the houses that you like, and then I'll be able to see on my side your list of favorite houses. Once we've identified a house, we see the houses, and you pick one that you want to put an offer on, we also got to figure out a few things. We got to figure out between 1 to 10% of the earnest money deposit. So depending on how motivated you are, 1 to 10% is put up front once the offer is accepted within 72 hours into the escrow. It's an escrow deposit. It gets sent to the title company. So depending on how motivated you are. But we keep your deposit protected by certain contingencies, which can also be known as protective clauses. So one of the first ones is your inspection period. You want to get the property professionally inspected. Another one is your contingencies on like appraisals, financing, sale of buyer homes. There's a lot of different protections that we put in place to help you while you're buying the property. Now, with the inspection one, there's actually an inspector who you would hire to go out within like the first 7 days to find issues. That's their job. And then on the second or third week, if you're getting a loan, you would hire an appraiser to determine the value of the home. So an inspector is determining the condition, the appraiser is determining the value. So they're working separately, kind of together for you to make sure that the house is in good condition and has the value there. Now, if we're doing a loan, it's gonna be a bunch of documents that are needed, and I apologize in advance because once you get like 2 or 3 weeks in, they're gonna start asking for some of the same documents again, or more like updated ones, like updated pay stubs, updated bank statements. They're gonna need letters of explanation for different things. So it's gonna get pretty frustrating throughout the process because we're trying to all give it to an underwriter to review it to kind of determine if this loan is gonna be repaid in the next 30 years. They're trying to determine off of the last 24 months if you're gonna pay this debt for the next 30 years. That's not an easy job to do. If they agree that you are gonna pay it, they'll give you what's called the clear to close. And then on closing day, we're gonna sign the final paperwork, send the final monies, and then that's how you fund the transaction as well as the lender funds the transaction. Seller gets their money, and then the party starts because you are at closing. Some of the things you wanna look at when you're buying a property in Florida is some of the new construction benefits, HOA fees, and the homestead exemption. So if you're buying the property for a primary residence, you're gonna get a small tax break with that homestead exemption, and This is, you'll call the tax collector to get information on that. Some communities have HOAs and CDDs, and there's some benefits to having new construction. But that's pretty much it. That's a little bit about the process of the steps in the home buying process, as well as how the numbers would look on this property. If you found any value in this video, consider subscribing to this channel. And if you need help buying a house, you already know the QR codes are somewhere on the screen. You can reach out to me directly, and I will see you on the next video.